Hey everybody, welcome back to History Student Reacts. Today we'll be watching Gladiator for the first time. That's right, I've never seen the movie Gladiator before. There's actually a fair number of pretty classic historical movies that I have not yet seen, so maybe we'll react to them together on the channel. Now, if you've watched the channel before, you know that we do a lot of Roman history. Now, I understand that this movie is a piece of historical fiction, so I'm not going to be checking for accuracy every single minute, but I think it will be interesting to watch through and get to talk a bit about Roman history, the Roman Empire, some really fascinating stuff. Now, if you're watching on YouTube and you would like to see the full, unblurred, unedited version of this reaction, you can find that on Patreon, which will be linked down below in the description. And if you're watching on Patreon, thank you so much for all of the support. Now, with all of that out of the way, let's jump right into Gladiator. At the height of its power, the Roman Empire was vast, stretching from the deserts of Africa to the borders of northern England. Over 1/4 of the world's population lived and died under the rule of the Caesars. In the winter of 180 AD, Emperor Marcus Aurelius' 12-year campaign against the barbarian tribes in Germania was drawing to an end. Just one final stronghold stands in the way of Roman victory and the promise of peace throughout the empire. Yeah, peace. Another Pax Romana, perhaps. Hey, Russell Crowe. Interesting. So starting in Germania in 180 AD, actually near the end of Marcus Aurelius's reign, his campaigns against the German tribes, a moment when the Roman Empire is quite powerful, really at its peak, stretching, as they said, from North Africa all the way to England, this vastly powerful empire. I will say they talked about the Caesars, right, meaning the emperors, but the title the emperor would take, even over Caesar, was Augustus, right? So that's probably more directly linked with the emperor. Caesar was often taken as the title of a junior emperor, though that was especially true later in Roman history. So situate ourselves 180 AD in Germania, as the Romans like to do, making campaigns against tribesmen bordering their empire. The legions on the run. Well, not on the run. Riding, I should say. On the move. As the legions often were. Okay. Russell Crowe's a general. I mean, the Romans were a very militaristic and military-minded culture, right? So being a general, that's a very impressive position, and oftentimes people would use their military careers to enter into politics, right? There are many Roman generals who would go on to be politicians, and in this era, many Roman generals who would go on to be emperors, right? So being a general, a good position to be in.
Lean and hungry. Still nothing?
Not a sign.
How long has he been gone?
Nearly 2 hours. Will they fight, sir?
We shall know soon enough.
Soldier! I ordered you to move those catapults forward. They're out of range.
Range is good.
A danger to the cavalry.
Is acceptable. Agree? They say no.
Oh my. And I'll say before we get into this, the Germans were quite the foes or the rivals of the Romans. I mean, not rivals in terms of their overall power, but the Romans were always a little spooked by the German tribes. There had been a battle in 9 AD, right? So, more than 100 years before this, called the Battle of the Teutoburg Forest, where Roman legions had been devastated by a sort of surprise Germanic attack and Rome had exacted its revenge in the aftermath, but ever since then, Rome had been a little scared of those German tribes, more than other tribesmen they were fighting against, so there is a lot of history wrapped up in this particular moment. Well, the message has been sent.
People should know when they're conquered.
Germans ain't conquered, I'll tell you that much.
Would you, Quintus? Would I?
Good point. And the Germans would not be conquered by the Romans, though I guess we'll see how this battle goes.
3 weeks from now, I will be harvesting my crops. Imagine where you will be, and it will be so. Hold the line!
This is great. So, seems like to me the Romans have got a bit of a trap set. Pretty classic one. You hide an elite cavalry force nearby, and then they can hit the enemy line when the time is right. And Maximus, I've been calling, I've been saying Russell Crowe, but his character name, I suppose, is Maximus. He's talking about the sort of eternal promise of being a Roman citizen soldier, right? The whole idea, and to be fair, this idea was very much changing in this time, but the sort of concept was you would be a citizen of the Republic, then the Empire, you would go and fight the Republic's, the Empire's wars, and then you would get to come home, live on your allotted plot of land with your family, and harvest your crops. Now, at this point, as we're really reaching the height of the Roman Empire, a lot of these Roman soldiers were not the sort of citizen soldiers that are so famous, but I guess Maximus here is still embodying that idea.
Stay with me! If you find yourself alone, riding in green fields with the sun on your face, do not be troubled, for you are in Elysium, and you're already dead! Brothers, what we do in life echoes in eternity.
Tortuga formation. Turtle. This is when you gotta hold the line. Okay, here comes the cavalry. Uh-oh. I mean, the Germans were famed for being tough, strong fighters. Well, I guess they won.
And the senators. You wouldn't have summoned them.
Peace comes.
Oh.
2 weeks on the road, your incessant scheming is hurting my head.
He's made his decision. He's going to announce it. He will name me. The first thing I shall do is honor him with games worthy of his majesty.
Interesting. I assume, of course, we've got Commodus here, the son of the emperor Marcus Aurelius. I'm assuming he's talking about being named emperor. We're in 180 AD. At this point in the actual history, Commodus had already been named co-emperor. He had been named Caesar, or essentially junior emperor, years and years before this. And then, I think a few years before the death of Marcus Aurelius, he had named his son Augustus, right? So co-emperor in full capacity. So at this point, Commodus was already emperor, essentially, had already been selected as the heir to his father when his father passed away, which, by the way, was pretty unusual, right? Typically in Roman history, especially if we're talking about Western Rome, You don't see a lot of father-son duos. Not saying they didn't happen. There's absolutely lots of examples of it, but, typically, and of course nothing is really typical when it comes to Roman succession, it didn't happen super, super often. So this is one of those examples of that. And comes in a time when a lot of the emperors were choosing not their own sons, so they didn't have a son to choose to succeed them as emperor. But Marcus Aurelius, well, he does.
You have proved your valor yet again, Maximus. Let us hope for the last time.
There's no one left to fight, sire.
There is always someone left to fight.
That's what I was gonna say.
How can I reward Rome's greatest general?
Let me go home.
Interesting. So we've got Maximus, Rome's greatest general, who I think is an entirely fictional character. I'm trying to rack my brains. Maybe there's some real-life person this is based on. I don't think I'm familiar with them, perhaps. But I believe mostly fictional. And here we've got Marcus Aurelius near the end of his life and the end of his reign. The very famous philosopher emperor, right? He wrote Meditations, right, on Stoicism, which is pretty well known today. One of the good emperors of this era spent a lot of his time campaigning, as we're seeing here. So this is true to the real man. Spent a lot of his time fighting off Rome enemies, trying to stabilize the empire. And of course, Rome would be heading into a patch of instability following this, so the job was a necessary one. And Maximus here, the greatest general, just wants to go home.
Home.
They honor you, Caesar.
It's for you, Maximus. They honor you.
Like I said earlier, especially at this time, really Augustus would have been the more senior title for emperor rather than Caesar, right? Of course, we're drawing back to Julius Caesar, the original, the OG, and then, of course, his nephew, the first emperor, Augustus Caesar, right? And so Caesar at this time would have been more a title for junior emperor, like Commodus earlier, though I believe at this point Commodus was named as Augustus as well. But, Caesar was, of course, still a title that emperors took, but just Augustus would have been the more senior title.
Have I missed it? Have I missed the battle?
You have missed the war.
Father, congratulations. I shall sacrifice 100 bulls to honor your triumph.
Save the bulls. Honor Maximus. He won the battle. I think it is time for me to leave.
Damn, okay. Bro said, I'm out of here. I will say, in Roman history, there's a very common theme of emperors feeling challenged by successful generals. So, just keep that in mind.
Senator Gaius, Senator Falco. Beware of Gaius. He'll pour a honeyed potion in your ear, and you'll wake up one day and all you'll say is, Republic, Republic, Republic.
Well, why not? Rome was founded as a republic.
Yes, and in a republic, the Senate.
Hey, yo, what? Okay, I gotta say, that's crazy. For a senator to be saying that so openly, even as a joke about the Republic, in front of your co-emperor, Commodus, your head would be sliced off immediately. And I'm not saying that just because it's Commodus. Any emperor would not bode any discussion, even jokingly, of restarting the Republic. So that is far more openness than you would have expected at this time. Very strange.
Yes, and in a republic, the Senate has the power. Senator Gaius isn't influenced by that, of course.
Where do you stand, General? Emperor or Senate?
Your soldier has the advantage of being...
This is crazy. Okay, sorry to keep pausing. This is a crazy conversation. You would not have this in front of the future emperor, or the co-emperor, right? Commodus is one of the two emperors at this point. Or I guess maybe not in the movie. So, maybe I'm speaking about the real history. But even the future emperor, you would not have this conversation in public. Emperor or Senate? Guys, this is more like how Rome was like 180 years before this, okay? In the first days of the Roman Empire, in the time of Augustus, the Senate maybe still had a little bit of authority, though not much, even under Augustus. Really, the last of the Roman Senate's authority had disappeared under Julius Caesar, which is before the Roman Empire even exists. At this time, the Senate really had no power. There was still some prestige in being a senator, of course, but it really was just a club of the most powerful men, the most wealthy men in Rome, who really didn't have much authority through their positions in the Senate, right? At this time, all authority was already flowing from the emperor. So this conversation doesn't really make much sense in 180 AD. Maybe if you, like I said, take it back a bunch of generations, it would make more sense.
Going to need good men like you.
How may I be of service, Highness?
You're a man who knows what it is to command. You give your orders, the orders are obeyed, and the battle's won. But these senators, they scheme and squabble and flatter and deceive. Maximus, we must save Rome from the politicians, my friend. Can I count on you when the time comes?
Oh, wow.
Highness, when your father releases me, I intend to return home.
Home? Well, no one's earned it more. Don't get too comfortable. I may call on you before long.
Interesting.
Lucilla's here.
Very interesting. I mean, look, it is accurate to have the emperor trying to court powerful generals, right? Especially, even at this time, right? Even though I said all power flows from the emperor, that is true in the political system, but there's still real military power. Many emperors have found a sword in their back and a general who they thought there was an ally holding that sword, right? So it is important to get generals on your side. And this capacity to sort of fight against the senators, it makes a little bit less sense. Really, you'd want powerful generals on your side to fight against your other generals. You know what I mean? But that's interesting.
I need your help with your brother.
Of course.
He loves you. He always has. And he will need you now, more than ever.
Interesting depiction of Marcus Aurelius, I have to say. I mean, I'm sure we'll cover this throughout the movie, but there's always been a question of, why does Marcus Aurelius select his son to succeed him? Now you might be thinking, isn't that just how it works? Well, like I said earlier, no, not always, and not even often, right? Emperors, you see many times emperors not having their sons succeed them, sometimes because they didn't have sons, or their sons had died, or whatever. But it was not determined from the beginning that Commodus would be the next emperor. And yet, from relatively early into his time as emperor, Marcus Aurelius names him Caesar, Commodus Caesar, and then Augustus, clearly naming him as his successor. And it's seen as one of his greatest failings because Marcus Aurelius is known as one of the better emperors, a favorite of many, and yet he directly leads to widely known as one of the worst reigns the Roman Empire ever saw under Commodus. And so you sort of think, why exactly did he do that? How could he have done this? Maybe he didn't see how bad his son was. I mean, who knows? There's a lot, and we'll talk about it more throughout the movie, I'm sure. But I'm interested to see how they work it out here. And of course, there's also the suggestion that, like some of these worst emperors we hear about, perhaps some of the sources we're getting are so biased that it makes them not useful, right? There's the suggestion that whenever an emperor pisses off the Senate, well, what we hear about them thousands of years later is going to be through the lens of those senators. And so it's going to be extremely negative, even if most people didn't actually dislike that particular emperor. There's a lot to say there, but anyway.
For 25 years, I have conquered, spilt blood, expanded the empire. Since I became Caesar, I've known 4 years without war. 4 years of peace in 20.
Sheesh.
For what?
5,000 of my men are out there in the freezing mud. 3,000 of them are bloodied and cleaved. 2,000 will never leave this place. I will not believe that they fought and died for nothing.
And what would you believe?
They
Maximus?
fought for you. And for Rome.
What is Rome, Maximus?
I've seen much of the rest of the world. It is brutal and cruel and dark. Rome is the light.
Yet you have never been there.
Very interesting. And that is a very Roman perspective, right? I mean, Rome was the greatest empire of the time, but Romans understood that. They felt that. I mean, there were other powerful empires, I guess. But Romans felt they were of the most powerful empire, and perhaps more importantly, the greatest civilization the world had ever seen. So what he says here about seeing the rest of the world, and it's cruel and dark, and Rome is the light, it's a very accurate Roman perspective, I would say.
Rome is the light.
Yet you have never been there. You have not seen what it has become. I am dying, Maximus. When a man sees his end, he wants to know there was some purpose to his life. How will the world speak my name in years to come?
Pretty
Will I
favorably.
be known as the philosopher,
Yes.
the warrior,
Yes.
the tyrant?
Usually not.
Or will I be the emperor who gave Rome back her true self?
No.
There was once a dream that was Rome. You could only whisper it. Anything more than a whisper, and it would vanish. It was so fragile. And I fear that it will not survive the winter. That I ask of you before you go home.
What would you have me do, Caesar?
I want you to become the protector of Rome after I die.
Oh.
I will empower you to one end alone. To give power back to the people of Rome
Well,
and end the corruption that has crippled it.
okay. Very interesting. Extremely unorthodox. Right? Once again, I said I'm not going to be being like comparing this to the real history too much, because I'm also seeing now that this is quite different from the actual history, right? Obviously, Marcus Aurelius himself never would have asked this, but it seems to me that he's asking Maximus here to perhaps lead Rome back to the way it once was, to end the corruption, to give Rome back to the people, right? No mention of his son yet, right? Very interesting. As we talked about, the real Marcus Aurelius had already named his son co-emperor, and though there's only so much we can know, I mean, we don't know the thoughts in his head. Maybe he wasn't happy to see his son become emperor. We don't know, but he was the one who did it, right? So we can only imagine that it was his will to have his son on the throne, Commodus, and that's exactly what Marcus Aurelius did. This, of course, is very different, and something you would probably find almost no, if no, Roman emperor actually say. But he is really handing Maximus here an enormous degree of authority, authority that, once again, most emperors would not give out, and would be frightened for one of their generals to have. And really, I guess we'll see how this goes, but most generals hearing this from the emperor would be like, great, time to make myself emperor. And that's what a lot of them did.
Won't you accept this great honor that I have offered you?
With all my heart, no.
Maximus, that is why it must be you.
And Commodus?
Commodus is not a moral man.
Wow.
You have known that since you were young.
Okay.
Commodus cannot rule. He must not rule. You're the son.
So there we get to Commodus, right? So once again, the opposite of the actual Marcus Aurelius who puts his son in power. This Marcus Aurelius seems to be struggling against his son being in power.
You're the son that I should have had. Commodus will accept my decision. He knows that you command the loyalty of the army.
That's serious power.
I need some time, sire.
Yes. By sunset, I hope you will have agreed.
Sounds to me like Marcus Aurelius is saying to him, like, you know, well, he literally said, bring Rome back to the people, right? So, back to the Republic? There was a suggestion of that earlier, so perhaps a more, like, realistic take on this would be someone like Commodus naming, or not Commodus, sorry, someone like Marcus Aurelius naming Maximus as his successor, right? And that right there almost sounded like a Roman adoption, right? Now, adoption today, it's a little different from how they did it in Rome. Adoption could be done for political reasons, and something you might see is someone like Marcus Aurelius adopting someone like a Maximus to become his son and then to take his place as emperor, right? That's something that, would have been understood at that time. But that doesn't quite seem like what's happening. He's saying you should steward Rome back into the Republic? I mean, perhaps? Pretty crazy.
Commodus expects that my father will announce his succession within days. Well, you served my brother as you served his father.
I will always serve Rome.
Oh, that's not an answer.
Do you know, I still remember you in my prayers. Oh, yes. I pray.
I was sad to hear of your husband's death. I mourned him.
Thank you.
It's a very interesting situation, right? So how they've laid it out is that Commodus is waiting for Marcus Aurelius to announce his succession. Obviously, any real Roman emperor does not like to leave succession until so late. And of course, the real Marcus Aurelius didn't.
Blessed Father, watch over my wife and son with a ready sword. Whisper to them I live only to hold them again. Ancestors, I honor you. And will try to live with the dignity you have taught me.
He's very much embodying the sort of Cincinnatus type figure, a general who goes, does his duty, does whatever he needs to, and then returns home to be a farmer. Right? The Roman citizen soldier, like I said earlier.
You will not be emperor.
Oh my god.
Which wiser older man is to take my place?
My powers will pass to Maximus, to hold in trust until the Senate is ready to rule once more.
Crazy. Crazy.
Rome is to be a republic again.
Whoa. Okay.
Maximus. Yes. My decision disappoints you,
But, of course it does.
Commodus? Your false as a son is my failure as a father.
Damn, that's tough. Tough to say and tough to hear.
I would put to the whole world. Give you as though you've loved me.
No shot. Oh my god. Holy fuck. Well, here we go. Oh my god, there goes Marcus Aurelius, man. Holy shit. Okay, I didn't want to pause during that scene because I've been pausing too much, but my goodness. Wow, crazy. So, first of all, we had Marcus Aurelius blatantly say he wants to return Rome to a republic. Crazy. Then to tell Commodus he's not going to be emperor. Once again, we have very much deviated from the history here. There's no evidence that Commodus took out his father, because, once again, in the real history, Marcus Aurelius actually did select his son as emperor, and that seems to have been an agreement which worked for both. Marcus Aurelius passes away, Commodus becomes emperor. So we're on a sort of alternate timeline here, but damn, that was crazy. Now you gotta wonder what's gonna happen to Maximus.
Lament with me, brother. Our great father is dead.
Well, they all knew he was sick, right? I wonder if Commodus can cover this up. Also, choking or smothering can be a pretty subtle way to go. It can leave some marks, but
I only offer it once.
Maximus.
Really? Well, that's how it's gonna be. I mean, in this version of events, Maximus has got a pretty good claim to the throne, and that claim is his big-ass army. You know what I mean? If this is how things actually had gone with Marcus Aurelius and Commodus, I think Commodus would not have been emperor for long. And, you know, once again, we might talk more about this later, but Commodus has been depicted here as a pretty despicable character, murdering his own father. Once again, the thing is, the sources we have on Commodus and the other Roman emperors all come from one particular class of people. Commodus clearly really pissed off the Roman senators, and so they leave us history that's really negative on him. The question we need to ask ourselves is, was he really that bad? Or did this one class of people just not like him very much? And that's hard to say. You know, we don't exactly know. Now, it does seem like he was a pretty bad emperor, but it also seems like, you know, he sort of got worse over time. So like a lot of bad emperors, as the years progressed, he got worse and worse and worse. Versus here in the movie, he's already pretty despicable in the beginning.
Maximus, please be careful. That was not prudent.
Prudent? The Emperor has been slain.
The Emperor died of natural causes.
Why are you armed, Quintus?
Guards! Please
Damn.
don't fight, Maximus. I'm sorry, Caesar has spoken. Right until dawn. And then execute him.
Quintus, look at me. Look at me! Promise me that you will look after my family.
Your family will meet you in the afterlife.
What the hell, man? Bro, talk about betrayal. The thing is, would Maximus's men really do that? Or maybe these are Praetorian Guard guys, I don't know. Oh my.
The frost. Sometimes it makes the blade stick.
Damn. Kind of surprised they even intended to execute him, but maybe these aren't meant to be Maximus's men. Maybe guards brought with Commodus. Would make more sense.
Praetorian!
Yeah, they are. Praetorian Guard. Though even the Praetorian Guard were not that loyal to the Emperor. They'd go with whoever was gonna give them a favor. Damn. Damn, they ran down everybody on the farm and burned it down. I guess it is Commodus we're talking about. And a pretty brutal version of him as well. But this is next level. Oh, no. Jesus fucking Christ. Oh my god. Oh.
They will clean it. Wait and see.
He is not looking good.
Don't die. They'll feed you to the lions. They're worth more than we are.
Ah. So he's been captured and taken as a slave, I guess. In North Africa?
Do any of them fight? I got a match coming up.
Some are good for fighting, others for dying. You need both, I think.
What's a trade?
Was a hunter.
Oh, no. I bought him from a salt mine in Carthage. Sit down.
So he's looking for gladiators. Okay, we know the title of the movie, right? So I guess after his family is killed and his farm burned down, he collapses and then is taken into slavery. Interesting. Anyway, of course, we know that the gladiators that fought were those taken as slaves and then used to fight as gladiators. Gladiator was not necessarily an honorable profession, as you can imagine, though, especially at this time later in the Empire, some could become pretty famous from the profession if they managed to survive at least. And of course, I don't know if we'll touch on it in the movie, but even some higher up, like, I don't know, the Emperor, could end up admiring gladiators, right? So, interesting.
I'll give you 2,000. 4 for the beasts. That's 5,000 for an old friend.
Will he fight?
That's enough for the moment.
Is there the sign of your gods? Will that not anger them?
Sort of feels like Maximus has given up, understandably, but I guess we'll see if that's truly the case. I mean, he is a man of war.
Some of you are thinking you won't fight.
Of Mars. Hey, look at our duo go. Whoa. Hey, you still got it, man. I guess Proximo was right, whatever his name was. Many think they won't fight. When they get in there, they do. Here he goes. Yeah, so this is another one where, and I've mentioned this a few times already, but I believe to our understanding, though Commodus was very unpopular with the Senate, and however you judge him as an emperor, I believe that he wasn't, or he may not have been unpopular with the people, right? So this reception is probably not the one he would have gotten. Of course, in the actual history, he did murder his father. People were always excited at the acclamation of a new emperor, but even when we get into his reign, he may not have been so unpopular with the people, though he was definitely unpopular with the Senate. Once again, there's a lot of maze there, because we don't know exactly what really happened.
Enters Rome like a conquering hero. But what has he conquered?
Give him time, Gracchus. He's young. Rome greets her new emperor. Your loyal subjects bid you welcome, Highness.
Thank you, Falco. And for the loyal subjects. I trust they weren't too expensive.
Caesar.
Gracchus.
All Rome rejoices in your return, Caesar. There are many matters that require your attention. To combat the plague which is already springing up there. So, if Caesar...
Shh. Don't you see, Gracchus? That's the very problem, isn't it?
I'll say this is very interesting, just in the first place. Once again, they're sort of depicting a situation here where the Roman Senate had a lot more power than it really did, right? To have the senators speak to the emperor as such, to have the senators make requests like this, to have the emperor sort of among the Senate like this. Really, at this time in Roman history, and I've said this before, but the emperor was so far above everybody else, almost sort of quasi-godlike, that he really would not be down here on the same level as the Senate, and the Senate of this era just really had so little power. I almost can't emphasize it enough that they were not on the level it's being depicted here, but obviously this is a different version of things.
My father spent all his time at study. At books, and learning and philosophy. He spent his twilight hours reading scrolls from the Senate. And all the while, the people were forgotten.
But the Senate is the people, sire.
No, it's not.
Chosen from among the people to speak for the people.
No, no, no.
I doubt many of the people eat so well as you do, Gracchus.
That's a good point.
Or have such splendid mistresses, Gaius. I think I understand my own people.
Then perhaps Caesar will...
I mean, to be fair, he actually does make a good point. Look, I'm not trying to side with Commodus here, but that is very true. Yeah, the Senate always loved to claim, we are the representatives of Rome, but you could always levy the criticism against them that, do you really represent the people of Rome, or do you really represent yourselves? This particular wealthy class of Romans. At one time, the Senate was only made of patricians, but even after that point, and those were the sort of wealthy class of Rome, even after that point, the Senate was overwhelmingly made up of these wealthy aristocrats, essentially, who mainly spoke for themselves, right? So, look, Commodus may not be a good guy, but that's actually a fair point. The Senate, it had not been a respectable institution for a long time. It had been riven by corruption for, at this point, really hundreds of years.
Then perhaps Caesar will be so good as to teach us, out of his own extensive experience.
Yeah, you would not speak like that to the emperor.
I call it love. I am their father. The people are my children. And I shall hold them to my bosom and embrace them tightly.
Have you ever embraced someone dying of plague, sire?
Yeah, this is, I mean, it is crazy to speak to the emperor like that. Would not happen. Well, maybe it did happen. You'd just be killed. And maybe that's what we're about to see. But I know there's sort of painting Commodus to be this ridiculous tyrant, but that really is what the Roman emperor was at this era. He was the sort of godlike father of the Roman people. He was so far above everybody else. That wasn't just Commodus, that was really every emperor of this era, and especially the eras to follow. The Roman emperor would only further fall into that particular role. So it's interesting. There is something very real in what he's saying here. Now, I'm not saying it was good, but I am saying that is very much the role that the Roman emperor filled.
No, but if you interrupt me again, I assure you that you shall.
Senator, my brother is very tired. Leave your list with me. Caesar shall do all that Rome requires.
My lady, as always, your lightest touch commands obedience.
Who would they to lecture me?
Commodus, the Senate has its uses.
What uses? All they do is talk. It should be just you and me in Rome.
Don't even think it. There's always been a Senate.
Rome has changed. It takes an emperor to rule an empire.
Of course, but leave the people there.
Illusions.
Traditions.
My father's...
Honestly, I think illusion is a better word for it, frankly. I mean, at this time, she's talking about leaving the Senate. He says leave the people their illusions. That's kind of what the Senate was, an illusion of power. A tradition that no longer meant very much.
I will give the people a vision of Rome and they'll love me for it.
Okay.
And they'll soon forget the tedious sermonizing of a few dry old men.
And so what we see here is something that many Roman emperors did upon their ascension, is they held a series of games. They laid out massive feasts for the people. They held a series of games, gladiatorial fights in particular, all things to appease the population. That's where the idea of bread and circuses comes from, right? Even if you may not be ruling well, if you give the people food and distractions, they'll be pretty satisfied. Now, that's a bit of an oversimplification, but it is true that people loved these massive feasts and these games and these gladiatorial fights put on by emperors, so that is accurate. And of course, Commodus in particular was known for his love of the gladiatorial arena. I don't want to spoil anything if you're unfamiliar, so we'll see what he does throughout the movie. But at the moment, I'll just leave it. He was very fascinated and interested in gladiators and their fighting in these type of games.
Games. 150 days of games.
He's cleverer than I thought.
Clever. The whole of Rome would be laughing at him. They weren't so afraid of his Praetorian.
Fear and wonder. A powerful combination.
Yeah?
You really think that people are going to be seduced by that?
They might be. I mean, Machiavelli said it's best to be feared and loved, or feared and respected, I think it was. But if you could choose one or the other, you choose feared, right? But that's what Commodus is going for here. He wants to be feared, right? Through the sort of tyranny he enacts on the city. And he also wants to be loved for the games he's throwing. And once again, not to simplify it, but these type of games and feasts often would bring love and respect to the emperor. And really, let's be honest, the Praetorian Guard was less for inspiring fear in the populace and more for inspiring fear in the politicians, in the Senate. So this is more them speaking from their own perspective here.
I think he knows what Rome is. Rome is the mob. You conjure magic for them and they'll be distracted. We take away their freedom and still they'll roar. The beating heart of Rome is not the marble of the Senate, it's the sand of the Colosseum.
Interesting.
He'll bring them death. And they will love him for it.
Yeah, there's truth to that. And the Senate always struggled to get that popular support. Oh, wow. Just like the legions, huh? I love the mirroring here. Oh, god damn. I mean, not every general's a great fighter, but Maximus here, he is. Oh my god.
Are you not entertained?
Huh. Look at that famous meme. Seen that before.
Is this not why you are here?
They love him even more. So we see the mirroring of his past and present experiences, and also the mirroring of what's happening in Rome and what he's doing here. Fascinating. Winning the love and adulation of the people.
What do you want?
Fascinating.
So, Spaniard, we shall go to Rome together and have bloody adventures. And the great whore will suckle us until we are fat and happy and can suckle no more. And then, when enough men have died, perhaps you will have your freedom.
I get the feeling that's not quite what he's going for. I reckon he wants to stand in front of the Emperor so he can stab a sword through his neck. I guess we'll see. And also the fact this guy was a gladiator once as well. Interesting. Interesting twist. I mean, you know, like I said, gladiator, we sort of talked about the profession earlier, right? These slave fighters was not a respectable profession, but gladiators could get pretty popular. Once again, even those high up like Commodus, although Commodus was a bit of an outlier for this, he really liked gladiatorial fights and liked gladiators in particular. But, it wasn't impossible for a gladiator to make it out but pretty rare, right? So an interesting figure here.
When the Emperor enters, raise your weapons, salute him, and then speak together. Face the Emperor, and don't turn your back on him. Go, and die with honor.
I'm sensing an opportunity for Maximus here. But we'll see.
He'll be out in front of the Emperor.
Of course, he's got his identity, his face covered.
Conveniently. I will say, in the Colosseum, you needed really good seats to actually be able to see anything. I mean, imagine if you're in the sort of upper row, you're one of the plebs who doesn't have any connections. You really can't see anything from up there. You're just sort of there for the atmosphere and the ambiance, right? You need some nice seats. You need to be a senator, the emperor, someone well connected to the emperor to actually be able to see well the fight that's going on.
On this day, we reach back to hallowed antiquity to bring you a recreation of the second fall of mighty Carthage.
That's funny. So they're using this gladiatorial battle to celebrate Rome's defeat of Carthage, the second fall of Carthage. As they've said, if you don't know, Carthage, back in the days of the Roman Republic, so hundreds of years ago, Carthage was one of the main competitors to an expanding Rome. Carthage was largely a trade empire centered in North Africa. Through a series of wars, the Punic Wars, Rome was able to defeat and then truly pummel Carthage into the ground, though they did certainly fight back, most obviously through the figure of Hannibal, but in the end, Rome wins, and it's a victory they would continue to celebrate, as you're seeing here.
Is pleased to give you the Barbarian Horde.
Anyone here been in the army?
Yes. I served with you at Vindabara.
You can help me.
Oh, wow.
Whatever comes out of these gates, we've got a better chance of survival if we work together. Do you understand? If we stay together, we survive.
Pleased to bring you
Wise.
the Legionnaires of Scipio Africanus!
The Roman hero of the second Carthage, or second Punic War. Excuse me. Damn. Yeah, they've been put in a bad position, huh? Yeah, I mean, they're in a tough spot, but the best move, which Maximus knows, is to keep them together, keep the shields up, and try to fend off these horses that are going to be galloping around them. Of course, you can think this is a strategy that was continued for thousands of years. You can think in the 1800s of the square, how that was used against the cavalry under Napoleon, right? The infantry square. They don't quite have that here, but a similar idea of close together, backs against each other, and we can try and defend against these chariots that are going to be strafing us. I mean, it's a real battle.
Lock your shields! Stay as one!
Battle that they're supposed to lose, of course, as the barbarian hordes. Damn. He saved his ass. Oh. No man left behind, huh? Ooh. Not what you were expecting, Commodus, huh? Oh my god. Oh. Yeah. Oh, Commodus. Damn, what a victory that was, huh? Really showed him. Though, I mean, it's clear this guy's got military experience. Everyone in the crowd must see that.
My history's a little hazy, Cassius. But shouldn't the barbarians lose the Battle of Carthage?
Yes, sire. Forgive me, sire.
No, I rather enjoy surprises. Who is he?
They call him the Spaniard, sire.
Is he gonna launch that?
I think I'll meet him.
Yes, sire.
Gladiator, the Emperor has asked for you.
I'm at the Emperor's service.
Oh my. Let's see how this goes. He's gotta realize it's Maximus. Pretty obvious. Oh, look who's by his side. Okay, we've still got a lot of movie left. There's no shot he kills him now.
Guys. Your fame is well-deserved, Spaniard. I don't think there's ever been a gladiator to match you. As for this young man, he insists you are Hector reborn. Was it Hercules? Why doesn't the hero reveal himself and tell us all your real name?
Okay, this is crazy. Just a quick note. You're talking about Hercules Reborn. I was curious if we'd get to this, but when Commodus was becoming increasingly megalomaniacal near the end of his reign, he actually felt that he was Hercules Reborn. And he was training to be a fighter, a gladiator himself, and he even stepped into the Colosseum himself. Now, maybe we'll cover that later in the movie, but just that line about being Hercules Reborn, Commodus, in real life, actually thought he was Hercules Reborn. That's how delusional he became.
My name is Gladiator.
How dare you show your back to me? Slave! You will remove your helmet and tell me your name.
Will he do it? Oh my god.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius, commander of the armies of the North, general of Felix Legions, loyal servant to the true emperor, Marcus Aurelius, father to a murdered son, husband to a murdered wife, and I will have my vengeance in this life or the next.
Uh-oh. Bold move, Maximus. Well, the crowd doesn't like it. What will you do now, Commodus? You want that public support, don't you? Thumbs up. Which way? Damn. What happens now? Felt like that was gonna be the showdown, but I guess it's been postponed. I'm kind of surprised Maximus didn't take his shot. He was there within striking distance.
What did you feel when you saw him?
Dangerous question.
I felt nothing.
He wounded you deeply, didn't he?
No more than I wounded him.
They lied to me in Germania. They told me he was dead.
Very interesting. So, you got to think about the loyalty of your own men, right? You've become such a tyrant to feel that you can do whatever through your fierce Praetorian Guard, but when they lie to you, you don't really know what's going on, do you? I mean, I don't see why Commodus wouldn't just kill Maximus right now. Maybe that's what he's gonna do. Oh, well.
Rich matrons pay well to be pleasured by the bravest champions.
I knew your brother would send assassins. My family was burnt and crucified while they were still alive.
I knew nothing.
Don't lie to me!
I wept for them.
As you wept for your father. As you wept for your father.
I have been living in a prison of fear since that day.
My son was innocent.
So is mine. Must my son die too before you'll trust me?
It's interesting, and of course the point she's making is that, you know, she sees how much of a power-hungry tyrant Commodus is. Her son, Lucius, he represents a threat to Commodus, right? He's of the bloodline. He's someone who could be posed as an inheritor of the throne, and if Commodus gets unpopular enough, perhaps Lucius could be propped up as an emperor to overthrow him, right? And so she's thinking, you know, for Commodus, this nefarious tyrant, the most logical response would be to kill my son, right? That's what she's fearing.
The gods have spared you. Don't you understand? Today I saw a slave become more powerful than the Emperor of Rome.
The gods have spared me. I am at their mercy, with the power only to amuse a mob.
That is power.
It is.
The mob is Rome, and while Commodus controls them, he controls everything. Listen to me. My brother has enemies, most of all in the Senate. But while the people follow him, no one would dare stand up to him until you.
They oppose him, yet they do nothing.
There are some politicians who have dedicated their lives to Rome. One man above all. If I can arrange it, will you meet him?
Do you not understand? I may die in this cell tonight or in the arena tomorrow. I am a slave. What possible difference can I make?
This man wants what you want.
Then have him kill Commodus!
God! The lady has finished with me.
He lost his whole family, you know what I mean? That's a hard thing to come back from. But I think she is right. That mob is Rome. It's very powerful, right? This was true in Rome. This was true in Constantinople. The people, whenever they really didn't like an emperor, that emperor probably wouldn't be in power for very long because they would fill up the streets and essentially rebel, right? So that is true. And so when we see these emperors who are written about by the senators who were supposedly so awful, we sometimes think, well, maybe they weren't so bad because the people were not out in the streets revolting against them. Anyway, not really the point in this moment. That's true. The favor of the people is a lot of power. And, yeah, he's a slave gladiator, but come on. A man of his stature, of his name, it's pretty clear that he could play a big role in this if he wanted to, right? He's sort of in denial there, but I understand why. I mean, he's lost everything. His wife, his child, his family. He's got nothing left. It's hard to keep on going after that, right? For some, impossible.
General!
General. Bro, everyone knows who you are now. You can't go back to being a nameless gladiator. You might as well do something with it.
You have a great name. He must kill your name before he kills you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can't keep going now that everyone knows who you are, right? You can't be a nameless gladiator anymore. You had your moment to kill Commodus. I'm shocked that you didn't take it, but you might as well get involved in this plot that Lucilla is trying to set up, you know?
Returning to the Colosseum today after 5 years in retirement, Caesar is pleased to bring you the only undefeated champion.
So I see what we're doing. So I guess Commodus has decided that he can't have Maximus just executed or the people would turn against him. And so what he's going to try and do is kill him in the arena in whatever way he can. Well, I guess we'll see if it works.
In Roman history, the legendary Tigress of Gaul.
Gauls were fearsome warriors as well, though at this point a lot more tamed than the people of Germania.
Caesar is proud to give you alias Maximus.
Hey, he used his name, huh? This would be extremely irregular, having a general fight as a gladiator, now that everybody knows.
They embrace him like he's one of their own.
The mob is fickle, brother. He'll be forgotten in a month.
No, much sooner than that. It's been arranged.
Oh. What, poisoned blade, perhaps? Oh my god. More? Damn, okay. Not the most subtle way to take him out, I'll say that. But, I mean, hey, the crowd does like the bombastic action. Oh, ho, ho. Of course. Really do it? Damn. Once again, making a point. He's got to be furious. Let's see, can the crowd protect you a second time?
They tell me your son squealed like a girl when they nailed him to the cross.
He's really trying to goad him, huh?
And your wife moaned like a whore when they ravaged her.
Ugh.
Again and again and again.
Jesus Christ.
The time for honoring yourself will soon be at an end. Highness.
Why not go for it there? I mean, because his life would be forfeit? Does he care about his life that much? I don't know. I'm surprised he hasn't killed him yet. It is interesting, though. I mean, they've really, in portraying Commodus, they've really emphasized sort of the tyranny and the cruelty, and they've almost shied away, I think, a little bit from the megalomania and the delusion, right? Because I think the real Commodus, right, the one who believed himself to be the reincarnation of Hercules, would have already gotten in the ring with Maximus and said, "Fight me now, I will defeat you." That's probably what the real Commodus would have done. Now, maybe his men would have held him back to stop him from dying, but the real Commodus was truly, like I said, megalomaniacal and completely delusional at this point. I mean, the one in this movie is definitely delusional, but not to that extent. At least not yet. Maybe we'll get there. He's more and more popular. Cicero.
General, where are you camped? Hosea.
Tell the men their general lives. Find me.
Move along!
Find me.
This is what he should have done in the first place.
And now they love Maximus for his mercy. So I can't just kill him, or it makes me even more unmerciful.
This is so funny.
The whole thing's like some crazy nightmare.
Yeah, you've really got yourself into a pickle, man, and you've given Maximus the chance to kill you twice. What are you doing?
I thought perhaps I'd seen you for the last time. I thought you were dead. Close. How long have the men been in Ostia?
Oh, winter.
How do they look?
Fat and bored.
Who's in command?
Some fool from Rome.
How soon do you think they could be ready to fight?
Tomorrow.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying earlier near the beginning. You know, a popular general with a loyal army, you're almost emperor already. Especially if people don't like the emperor or they don't care about the emperor. Popular general with an army, that's really all you need. But especially with more support from other political groups, powerful groups, you could be in Rome on that throne tomorrow. Right? It's a very powerful position. You know, that had been true since before the time of Julius Caesar. Look at Sulla, but especially from the time of Julius Caesar. Remember, who was Julius Caesar? He was a general that parlayed his military success into a career as a politician, and then used his popularity among the people and his might and loyalty with his men to take over Rome. And that's how many emperors did it, right? So Maximus was in an extremely strong position, and even now, despite everything he's gone through, and despite the fact that he's literally a slave gladiator, he's still in a pretty powerful political position.
You can buy my freedom and smuggle me out of Rome.
To what end?
Get me outside the city walls. Have fresh horses ready to take me to Ostia. My army is encamped there. By nightfall of the second day, I shall return at the head of 5,000 men.
But the legions all have new commanders, loyal to Commodus.
Let my men see me alive, and you shall see where their loyalties lie.
Yeah.
This is madness. No Roman army has entered the capital in 100 years.
Gracchus.
I will not trade one dictatorship for another.
The time for half measures and talk is over.
Interesting. Yeah, you don't want to see how the future goes, Gracchus, but it's interesting. Once again, this is more... The political situation here is really more the political situation of the last day of the Republic, where you've got a Senate who wants to defend itself, its rights. He says he doesn't want to trade one dictatorship for another. Very reminiscent of the days of Caesar and Mark Antony and Augustus. At this point, this is just the way things are done. You want to take over the throne? You march in at the head of an army. It's been done many times. It will be done many times again. We'll see if they have a different plan in mind, but what Maximus is suggesting is, well, what I said he should have done at the beginning of the movie, and what many generals like him have done. Though, once again, I guess we're in this sort of alternate timeline where they plan to not just bring a new emperor to Rome, but to bring the Republic back. So, I mean, that's something entirely different that, of course, was never done in Roman history, not after the beginning of the Empire, so I guess we'll see.
Once all of Rome is yours, you'll just give it back to the people. Tell me why.
Because that was the last wish of a dying man. I will kill Commodus. The fate of Rome, I leave to you.
Marcus Aurelius trusted you. His daughter trusts you. I will trust you. But we have little time. Give me 2 days, and I will buy your freedom.
I mean, it is a fair concern, though. I mean, just about any general who you would have do this would then take the throne for themselves. Almost all of them. There are a few examples of guys in Roman history who earned ultimate power and then left it behind, but it is not very common.
My brothers had Gracchus arrested. We daren't wait any longer. You must leave tonight. Proxima will come at midnight and take you to the gate.
There. And I've got you.
Isn't it late to be playing Legionnaire?
I'm not a legionnaire.
Not a legionnaire.
I'm a gladiator.
Oh.
A gladiator? Gladiators only fight in the games. Would you rather be a great Roman warrior like Julius Caesar?
I'm Maximus, the savior of Rome.
Hey, yo, watch yourself.
The savior of Rome. You see, Lucius, sometimes royal ladies behave very strangely and do very odd things in the name of love.
I think it's silly.
So do I. So do I.
This is so pernicious.
Sister, join us. Tomorrow night, I'll tell you the story of Emperor Claudius. He was betrayed by those closest to him. By his own blood. They whispered in dark corners and went out late at night and conspired. And conspired.
Yeah, point made, man.
But the Emperor Claudius knew that they were up to something.
You want to die, old man?
Here, everything is prepared.
Wow.
It seems you have won your freedom.
Proxima, are you in danger of becoming a good man?
He showed where his loyalties lay in the end, huh?
All enemies of the Emperor, die!
Yeah, get the homies out of there. That's your new legion. Small one, but still.
If you don't want any part of this, go back to your cells.
We wait here for you, Maximus. Strength and honor.
Go.
Like I said, it's his new legion, man.
And honor.
They fighting for real. Against the damn Praetorian Guard as well. Oh, Proximo.
Shadow's dust.
Damn. Sliced down like old Julius Caesar before him. Oh no. Hey.
Maximus!
No! Oh,
I'm sorry.
God. Not Cicero, man. Oh, shit. Well, things have not turned out well. What the hell happens now?
Lucius will stay with me now. And if his mother so much as looks at me in a manner that displeases me, he will die.
Jesus.
She decides to be noble.
She's right there.
And takes her own life. He will die.
Jesus Christ, man. Jesus. What are they gonna do to him? Oh my god, look at that armor. I want to get a better look at that.
They call for you. The general who became a slave. The slave who became a gladiator. The gladiator who defied an emperor. A striking story. Now that people want to know how the story ends, only a famous death will do. And what could be more glorious than to challenge the Emperor himself in the great arena?
I knew we were gonna go here. I knew it.
You would fight me?
Why not? Do you think I'm afraid?
You should be.
I think you've been afraid all your life.
You loved my father, I know. But so did I. That makes us brothers, doesn't it? Smile for me now, brother.
Oh, no.
Strap on his armor. Conceal the wound.
Of course he was gonna fight him straight up, right? Jesus. And when Commodus really did fight in the Colosseum, they would not have him fight fair, right? Of course they wouldn't. He was the emperor. If he was fighting fair matches, he would have died out there. That armor's crazy, by the way. So, similar to this, right? Not a fair fight. You're a real piece of shit, you know that? Now Maximus wounded and surrounded by Praetorians. Yes! Come on, get him! Whoa!
Quintus, sword! Give me your sword!
Come on, Quintus.
Sword! Give me a sword! Sheathe your sword! Sheathe your sword!
Damn. Oh, Maximus. You tricky bitch. Oh. Beat his ass. Come on. Maximus, you're more the man than he ever was. Even in this state. Whoa. Damn. Commodus betrayed by those around him, for real. He's got nobody. Wow. You still didn't stand a chance against my boy Maximus. Damn. Praetorian Guard didn't even step in. Quintus did something good for once. I think it's over for old Maximus. Let him rest. Yeah. All he wanted, right? Go back to his family. And avenge Marcus Aurelius. Wow. There we go. Gladiator. Ridley Scott. Okay. That was quite the movie, I gotta say. Yeah, I certainly enjoyed that. The last Ridley Scott movie I watched was Napoleon, and that sucked. So this was way better. Yeah, man. That was good. You know, I'll say my last sort of historical note is that in real life, Commodus was actually killed, I think strangled, by his wrestling partner, Narcissus, I think while he was in the bath. That's how Commodus dies in the end. Because he's plotting to kill several senators, so not that different from here. And following the death of Commodus, you have the year of 5 emperors and essentially civil war. So it's chaos, civil war. It did not leave Rome in an era of peace and a new republic, but maybe in the movie it does. Of course, it goes very differently here. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. Like I said, I wasn't analyzing the movie for accuracy, but it's fun to talk about the history. I find it fun. Maybe you do as well. If you do, I'd appreciate it if you'd leave a like, subscribe, and once again, if you're watching on YouTube and you'd like to see the full unedited version of this movie, which I can't put on YouTube due to copyright. You can find that on Patreon, which is linked down below. And everybody watching on Patreon, thank you so much for all of the support. I really appreciate it. Everybody, I hope you're having a fantastic day today. Feel free to leave in the comments any other movies you'd like me to react to, and I will see you all again next time. Goodbye.